May 13th, 2023, we're going to be hosting the Strengthening Community Young Men's Leadership Symposium.
Welcome, family, to the Bacon Bits Podcast, where we desire for you to take the bits of information and immediately apply them to your life for success. The ground rules for our podcast is that it will always be encouraging, uplifting, and informative. The areas of life that we are talking about on the Bacon Bits Podcast is dealing with having a balanced life. I need to hear you say it. Say valuable information applied equals success. And welcoming to you to this wonderful podcast that we're having. We are going to be discussing the needs of our youth male mentorship in Tucson. As we all know, young men in our community are facing numerous challenges, including a lack of positive role models, male role models specifically, and limited opportunities to learn important life skills. Today, we'll explore why mentorship is so critical and what we will do to support and empower our youth. Welcoming you guys today to this wonderful podcast is my brother from another mother, Aaron Scott. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. Great to be here, man. Part of the Bacon Bits podcast. This is exciting, man.
I'm excited to have you here, brother. Okay, so let's jump on into it, man, with some of these questions, man. So what is the state of the male youth mentorship in Tucson?
You know, John, there are a lot of opportunities and organizations. We got programs like the Big Brothers and Big Sisters. We've got programs like Boys to Men Tucson. We've got programs like When I Become a Man. And these things are providing, mentorship, support, resources, but there's still a significant need. Yeah. And the young guys still need more support. I'm thinking of Mentor Tucson's kids. We've got boys lined up, ready to go, looking for mentorship, but the line of mentors is not matching up.
All right. So why is male youth mentorship important, my brother?
Mentorship can provide a sense of purpose and direction for young men. It also promotes positive behavior, decision-making. Mentor can help young men build confidence, learn new skills, access resources, opportunities, right, that they might not even thought was available. Yeah. And when I think about, you're talking about discovering a balanced life, part of that balance is realizing I can't do this all by myself.
Yes, sir.
I need to be able to bounce ideas off of people, learn from other folks' experiences, and even just be able to be a part of and support what other people are doing. So providing that positive male role model can be especially important, right? Even for boys maybe that didn't have a man, didn't have a father, didn't have a positive person in their life like that.
Yeah, so one of the challenges you talked about is not enough men being there, but what are some of the other challenges facing the male youth in Tucson here?
So we're definitely, specifically here in Tucson, we're dealing with high poverty rates. Yeah. Impact young men, right? That pressure, kind of not knowing where the next meal is going to come from, wondering what's going to be, what things look like at home. I need supplies for school. I need clothes for school. Oftentimes this leads to now crime, right? I'm robbing, I'm stealing, I'm getting out there involved in the wrong things, trying to make a way for myself. Some people turn to drugs. Some people stop losing interest in the things that are important about their future, academic success and things of that nature, because they're so focused on what do I need to do right now.
Right.
And again, I do have to keep bringing it back. One of the biggest things that we're dealing with, kind of the lack of the positive men. We talk about the absence of fathers in America. Yeah. You have 18.4 million children. That's 1 in 4 without a biological step or adoptive father at home. And research shows that children raised in these father-absent homes, they're affected all types of ways. Greater risk of poverty by 4 times. More likely to have behavioral problems. Greater risk of infant mortality. more likely to go to prison, more likely to commit crime, 7 times more likely to become a teen parent. We start to see how these cycles keep repeating themselves. More likely to face abuse and neglect. More likely to turn to drugs and alcohol. Drop out of school. And this is from the National Fatherhood Initiative, talking about some of the challenges that young men are facing here in our city and across the country.
Yeah, because it's heartbreaking working at a drug and alcohol rehab and seeing all the young men just coming in there, 18, they don't even look like they're old enough to be at the rehab, and them coming in there and seeing them young guys, man, and it's a blessing to be able to be in there because at being an older gentleman, they look up to you a lot like a father figure, and it's just because, once again, they didn't have that father figure at home. So that you can, pour a lot into their lives from just being there. That's a huge one right there, man. Well, what can we do to support male youth mentorship in Tucson?
Yeah, absolutely. You really touched on a huge part of it. Just your presence.
Yes, man.
Makes such a difference. Just being there, being in the room. I hear you talk often and you share about, you're always reminding us, right? We got 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Yes, sir.
Right? And I even heard you say that one time, if you cover an ear and your mouth, you still got an ear left.
Yes, sir.
So just being there, just being able to listen. Some of the ways that we can support in addition to that, volunteering, of course, donating. I look up to him, Don McNeil. He was there over Mentor Tucson's kids. He used to put it like this, we need M&Ms. I was like, I like M&Ms. You talking about peanut? All right, sign me up. He said we need M&Ms. We need mentors and we need money.
Yeah.
To support these programs, to support the work that's going on. So that the mentors, the volunteer, the presence, the financial seed, the donations, the in-kind donations. And the last thing is spreading the word, sharing about what's going on. Helping people be aware of the resources that's available to them. There's an event coming up. There's a community service. There's a fellowship. There's a time and a space for the young men to get together. Yeah. So by being there, by contributing your time and your treasure, and by helping spread the word.
Yeah. And the thing about it, man, now if you got some large donors out there that's listening to this podcast, brothers, this is a great place to sow some seeds. But man, let me tell you, 20 here, 20 there, 20 there, 20 there, that adds up. So any kind of way that you can be a blessing financially to this, because I wish we can say, good job, young man, and that's going to cut it. No, sometimes it needs to be that brother needs some shoes, he needs a backpack, he needs some school supplies, and he also just needs us to be there, buy him a meal and spend some time with him, be at their events. Their events cost money to get into the events. So you think about all the different ways that you can invest financially, and I can guarantee you that your seed will not come back void. It will be a blessing 100-fold if you sow into this wonderful organization, Good Brothers Foundation. So, Aaron, I need you to do me a favor, my brother. We didn't talk about the organization and the initiatives to make a positive impact on this society, but we also want to talk about, guess what, this wonderful place, this wonderful organization called the Good Brothers Foundation. Faith-based youth male mentorship organization. And we want to just ask you, brother, let's go into your story. What's the inspiration behind this organization?
Yeah, absolutely. The Good Brothers Foundation, I'll just start with the kind of the belief in the heart. And we believe that if young men have positive men in their lives, they're going to be more successful. No doubt. Believe that everybody needs a little help sometimes.
Yes, sir.
And that we are not created to operate by ourselves. We're not created to have all the answers and to know how to do everything. That's why we're put together. We're part of a body.
Yes, sir.
And we've seen the impact that being around positive men and having that support system and that brotherhood can really change people's lives.
Yeah.
So that's why we're here. The Good Brothers Foundation. Good is an acronym, and it stands for growing to overcome the obstacles of our destiny.
Beautiful.
Right.
Beautiful.
I always love to ask this question. I'm like, hey, raise your hand if every plan you ever had always goes exactly the way you planned it to.
No, sir. No.
And I don't see a single hand go up, right?
Right.
You got the little Weisenheimer. He want to raise his hand sometimes.
True, true.
We wrap that up real quick, but everybody face obstacles. And the fact that not only external, right? We know we got people's, places, things, systems, but also the internal obstacles that people face. Shame, doubt, guilt,
yes,
fear. And so we were inspired to create a space where we can support young men in making a choice, right? Equipping them with tools and providing support so that they can grow to overcome those obstacles. I'm convinced that there's an obstacle, but we always have a choice how we respond. And we're encouraging young men choose to grow.
Right on, right on. So how does the Good Brothers Foundation work? I just wonder, what's your approach to mentoring these young men?
Sure. So we have three basic kind of components, if you can think of it like that, right? Mm-hmm. We have this fellowship dimension where, hey, we just trying to hang out, watch a game.
Yeah,
you started talking about it, right? Get a bite to eat. Maybe go down to the park. Just bring guys together to just hang out. I do have a teaching background, so if I'm not careful, I can get very into like, okay, we're going to sit down. We're going to have this lesson. We're going to go over these points, and we're going to review. and that's good. There's a space for it.
Right.
But that first component, we are relational beings.
Yeah, sir.
Just relationship. Just hang out. We don't got no agenda, but just to come and kick it with the brothers.
Yeah.
The next part becomes mentorship. Mentorship, we don't take the traditional kind of one-on-one. We do more of a group type, like a community type mentorship model.
Yeah.
Where we're bringing men together for various events, exposing them to speakers and activities to interact with others and to learn, workshops in this type of way, right? This is our mentorship. So there is a teaching part, but it's operating in that group dynamic. And then specifically, then we'll have discipleship. And discipleship really is the focus around where you have the mature Christian or believer now working with a newer believer to help them develop their walk with the Lord. And that is much more of a personal, not always just one-on-one, but a tighter knit where we're really focusing on spiritual development and growth, believing that when you can get right with your spirit, when you can get right in your heart with the Lord, all the other things begin to fall into place, just like we're encouraged. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness.
Yes, sir.
And everything else will be added to us.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Phenomenal. So what kind of activities or programs do you offer to these young men?
Sure. So we have a range of programs, and they're designed to address kind of different aspects of the young men's lives. So we have monthly group meetings where men come together, men and boys, right? We're creating these kind of intergenerational groups and gatherings, building relationships, spending time with one another. I mentioned a little bit about the fellowship and the recreation, getting together, going to see a movie, getting together, going to check out a game down at the U of A. Mentors can work with the young men on a more personal level, right? Because we're really kind of getting to know each other a little bit more. We also have community service projects where we're supporting local events that are going on. One of our main ones, Martin Luther King Day of Service. Getting brothers out, getting young men out into the community to help strengthen the community and serve the community. And then our workshops, we're teaching everything from financial literacy, job skills, to social emotional learning, how to express yourself, to problem solving, and even getting ready for careers and professional aspirations.
Man, that is so great, brother. I'm almost wishing I would have been born in this generation. Boy, that's some good stuff you got going on there. I can see how these programs really make a difference in the lives of these young men. I really can see it, man. So, Aaron, what kind of impact have you seen the Big Brothers Foundation have on the young men so far in your programming?
It's awesome to see the transformation. The guys that participate in the program, they become more confident. They become more resilient. More responsible individuals. It's so blessed, such a blessing and encouragement. You're hearing back from parents that their boys are just showing up at home different. You're hearing from teachers that the students are showing up in class more attentive, more supportive. Of course, it's led to academic success. Guys are finding jobs. It's amazing because it'll be the guy that seems like he's sitting in the back of the room, like not even engaged, not even paying attention.
Yes, sir. Get that.
And then let's say the end of the program or they come back the next year and it's like, wow, like it did get through.
Yeah,
you were listening, you know, and now they're bringing friends and we're growing in that way. And so it's definitely had a positive impact in the lives of the young men. And what we're so encouraged by is that we know that as it impacts these young men and they go out into their communities, is impacting the community as well.
Yes. So there's investing in one life, which invests into tribes of people's lives. And that is phenomenal, man. So wonderful to hear that, Aaron. If someone is interested in getting involved with the Good Brothers Foundation, what should they do?
You can go right over to the website, thegoodbrothersfoundation.org. You can learn more about the organization, how folks can support us. We're definitely always looking for volunteers and for donors who can help us expand the program and reach more young men.
All right. So do you have any events that's coming up that the people can get involved in?
We sure do. So we're really, really excited. This May 13th, 2023, we're going to be hosting the Strengthening Community Young Men's Leadership Symposium. And what this is, it's an event designed specifically for young men that are graduating high school. Couple things we want to do. One, we want to celebrate your success.
Yes,
if there's any young men listening right now, we don't take it for granted. We don't take it lightly that you graduated high school, and you shouldn't either. That's a big deal. You worked hard to get there, and this is the beginning of so much more that is coming for you. So we want to celebrate and make a moment. We also want to take an opportunity just to sow positivity into our young men, to model healthy masculinity for them.
Right.
So we've got men from various different backgrounds coming together, put together these interactive workshops so that we can hear from different perspectives, but not just sit and listen. I know young men, y'all been doing a lot of that in class, okay? There's going to be a time to listen, but we want to hear from you too. We're encouraged by the wisdom in the room. So as we sow this positivity, we want to be able to hear back from what's going on and how you're taking this, putting it into your life, and seeing the fruit of what you're putting into effect. We also want to take an opportunity to invite boys into a brotherhood and let them know that, hey, we have a network here. There are people that care about you. There's people that's been through what you've been through, and they're willing to help you get through it as well. And then I'll say the final part is that just creating a space where the young men can connect with each other. Right? There may be a guy out there, I'm talking to somebody right now that feels like maybe they're the only one that kind of looks at things the way they do. They're the only one that's really thinking about the future and about their community and about the legacy. Well, bringing together the Young Men's Leadership Symposium, you're going to be surrounded by like 100, 150 guys that are that guy too. That care about those things. So you can start building those networks with like-minded people.
Man, we know iron sharpens iron, man. So sometimes being in the room with somebody that's on your level or even higher, will provoke you to strive for even better and even more, because you're being exposed to those who are doing even more, and will open you up to have ideas to be able to push you to the next level that you didn't even know you were capable of doing.
I love it, man. One thing I think back on some of my experience, sometimes you don't know how strong you are until you got to be strong.
Amen on that.
You don't know what you have inside of you until, look, it's like I feel like my back's against the wall and I got to dig deep to find out what's in there. What I'm capable of. So the Strengthening Community Young Men's Leadership Symposium is a full day event, providing participants with a range of activities and experiences to help them develop important skills and values. This is centered around Christian values. We'll be teaching and demonstrating those through our leadership. Participants will have the opportunity to connect with young men, to build relationships. It's going to help them succeed in all areas of their life. They'll also learn valuable leadership skills and strategies that will help them to make that positive impact on their community. The event's open to young men of all backgrounds. We're open this while we're stationed here in Tucson. This is open to Southern Arizona. And we're inviting, if you're graduating from high school and you're a young man in earshot, come on down. We want to celebrate this with you, helping you build confidence and resilience, finding a sense of purpose. It's going to be fun and engaging opportunity to grow and to develop in ways that you might not even have thought were possible.
Beautiful, beautiful. So before we go, Aaron, I want you to give me a little bit of testimony of how men have poured into you, which gave you the desire to want to even do this very thing right here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a couple come to mind. So definitely wanted to shout out my father. So my father is in recovery. The early part of our life, he was struggling with alcoholism. But the reason why I can say that he poured into me, he went to AA meetings, he went to the recovery programs, he did all that. But the main thing that he always said was that it was by God's grace that he came through. Even when he messed up, even when things wasn't going the way they were supposed to, even when he was making all the sacrifices, doing everything he could to make right by us. And I know me personally, I was still acting up because I was hurt. I was angry. I was frustrated. But he stayed consistent. He stayed steady. And now our relationship is in a whole new place.
Beautiful.
And I believe it's because he stood on the grace of God. He kept praying. He kept doing the right thing. And all in due time, God worked it out. I could talk about another fella. So I was in a juvenile detention center in my teen years. And I remember going in there and thinking, I'm big and bad and this and that. And you're not going to say nothing to me, do nothing to me. Well, I met this one counselor and his name was Mike. And I remember it was like one of my first couple days in there. So they still doing kind of my intake and getting me settled in. Well, he had me in the room and he's just asking me questions. Hey, how did you get here? What happened? What's going on? Tell me about yourself. And I'm talking, thinking I'm cool and telling him my story and all that. And then he asked me one question. And he just said, so is this what you're going to do for the rest of your life? And he walked out the room. He just let me sit with that. And so we talk about, right, that first example was an example that was set for me with my father and the work that he did. But this is a time when I met this man one time.
Come on now.
He asked me a question, and it was so powerful because I was in a spot where people are always kind of lecturing me.
Yeah.
You need to do this. You need to do that. I started to shut that out.
Yeah.
But when you asked me the question and then just let me sit with it.
Yeah.
Come on, man. It was something that allowed me to back up and look at things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And start thinking about it differently. And I mean, since that time, man, I can go back over it, teachers here and there, coaches here and there. I think the biggest thing was when there would be a man that would see potential in me and treat me like what he knew I could become.
Yes.
Right? Instead of my
yes.
shortcomings, instead of my sagging jeans, how I'm looking, instead of my little funky attitude, instead of my, trying to be prideful and show off to cover up actual insecurities and things like that, instead of looking at me and dealing with me right there, that they would speak to me and treat me like how I could be, positive, that kind of thing, man. And then specifically since coming out here, to Tucson, I've been in Tucson about 6 years now. My overseer, my pastor Brown, Otis Brown, always modeling what it looks like to be consistent, to be faithful, to be patient, and seeing what the importance of that, especially in leadership. Brother, men like you, Brother Bacon, seeing you around the community, seeing you part of the men's event, seeing you serving in the rehab space, and drug counseling, and knowing that, man, you're the same brother everywhere you show up.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, it's not like I'm gonna see John over here and he's gonna be acting this way. I'm gonna see him over. No, he comes from the heart. You come from the heart.
Yeah.
You keep it real. And that models for me what it means that, no, you don't have to be changing, who you are. No, who you are, and you show up authentically in each space. And examples like that have helped mold me to become the man that I am today.
Yeah, man. You've been such an inspiration to me, man. Just sitting back and watching you and your growth since you've been here, man. You just jumped into the scene here in Tucson, man, and just did what you know God gave you the gift to do. And that's been a mega blessing for me to just be able to sit back and watch it. And I'm just always honored and privileged just to be in your presence, brother. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I see, you know, as we get older, you know, it's a blessing to be able to pass on the baton and be like, okay, my brother, you younger than me, stronger than me, smarter than me, run with this thing, you know. And it's a blessing to be able to pour into people, man. And just knowing, like you said with Mike, you know, that out of this whole conversation, that was a blessing for me, just to know that you could say something one time. And we got to really get that. You can say something one time, and that could be the shift. That 1 degree change right there that can catapult somebody into a whole nother level of blessings, a whole nother level of security, a whole nother level of growth, a whole nother level of prosperity, whether it's, you know, with your intellect, whether it's with your body, with your soul, your spirit, whether it's financially, you know. That question provoked, you know, other questions to make you dig even deeper, to want to understand who you are as a man. And that's what the Good Brothers Foundation is all about. So, brother, I am so grateful and thankful to have had you on here. Thank you for sharing your story and inspiring the work and that you're doing with the Good Brothers Foundation, man. We wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, man. It's a pleasure.
All right, guys, we love you. We love you. This is another segment of Bacon Bits. We love you. God bless. All right, what's up, family? It's your boy, John Bacon, from the Bacon Bits Podcast. Thank you so much for your support, likes, and ratings. Please don't just listen, but rate me, follow me, and subscribe. This is an amazing way to offer free support. My beautiful queen and I have some books that we have written for your growth.
So the first book we have is a workbook, actually. It's called Healthy Relationships, and this is a workbook through the lens of faith. Because what makes a relationship healthy or unhealthy? So this workbook is designed, it's a 12-week, it's a biblically grounded course, and every week has a few different principles. So if some of our principles, some of our topics that we're covering are respect, cultivating security. And this is not just between a husband and wife. This is between parents, between siblings, between friends, between your bosses, employers. So it's really important, and everyone deserves a healthy relationship.
And also we have The Balanced Life by John Bacon. It covers how to be prosperous in your finances, relationships, your health, your mind, and your spirit. So you can pick that up on Amazon, also on audiobook. And we also have
The Unraveling, a creative healing journal, pinings, poems, prayers, and ponderings of my precarious life. I've had a testimony of, I've had 2 brain tumors and 2 brain surgeries, and I'm super grateful, but I'm still grieving the process of healing. And this is part of the process. In this book, you have devotionals, you have prayers, and you have some ponderings. And in between these pages, there's a space for you to also be prompted to paint and to create your own, or maybe you want to write something in these books. This is part of your creative healing journal that we get to walk through together.
And you guys can just head over to Kingdom Servants First. Kingdom Servants, the number 1, ST.com. And you can purchase all 3 of these books. Thank you for your support, your love, and your contributions. God bless.